Hi, we are in the Collection Study Centre today for Object of the Month. This is a new feature that we are doing to showcase the amazing collection here at the Manchester Museum. So today we're joined by Michelle, one of our regular volunteers. Michelle comes in once a week to study the Egyptology department, and today it is her object, her choice, and she has brought in this tiny little thing. So what is it, Michelle?
Well, it might be tiny, but it is really awesome. This is a bone tag from the Al district of Abydos.
Right.
And on it you can see a little inscription.
Is it this little bit down here?
Yeah, a little inscription, and you can see the falcon god Horus perched on top of a little box with a little squiggle in it. Now the squiggle is fascinating because this is a phonetic symbol for Jah.
So whereabouts is this squiggle?
Just along here. It's an early symbolic representation of some flax that's been bound.
Right.
But this carries a phonetic value. So how it reads would be Jah, and associated with the god Horus above, we know that it's a king. King Jah, one of the first kings of the first dynasty.
Okay, so how would it be used?
Originally, when these were first discovered, or very similar ones to this were discovered, they did think that they were tied around the necks of deceased people,
Right.
Maybe as a label naming them. But more recently, it's been concluded that they're probably from grave goods, so labels for wine jars or textiles. So,
Things that were buried with the body?
Yeah.
Right.
In the afterlife, the king needed to take, or any deceased person, but particularly the king, needed to take with them anything that they might need in the afterlife.
Of course.
King Jah was one of the very first kings to have a whole mortuary complex filled with things that he might need in the afterlife.
So Michelle, of all the objects in the museum, why have you chosen this little tag?
Because it's amazing, and it embodies everything that I'm passionate about in Egyptology. It's an example of the formation of language. The proto-hieroglyphs is something that I'm very, very interested in. But also it represents the blurring of history and myth.
Okay.
It's from a time when history was already history in the ancient world. The ancient Egyptians looked back at their ancient kings. So by the Middle Kingdom, this was already ancient, this time. And when the Egyptians, when they write their histories, they're not writing history for history's sake. It's not an academic discipline. It's an ideological discipline. This is how they defended their position. This was their a reason behind their kingship.
Okay, so how does this object relate to your research?
At the moment, I'm studying the museum's correspondence archives for the Egyptian department from the late 1800s onwards, and through that you get to meet the most amazing characters. Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie, he was one of a kind. He really was. He spoke his mind, and he used some colourful language at times. But other Egyptologists, Margaret Murray, are curators of the time, Winifred Crompton and Mary Shaw. You find out so much about the lives of these people, and it's almost like you get to know them. But the objects that they're talking about are the ones that are on display in the museum. And, in the study centre, to actually be able to get up close and personal with these artefacts. And, I mean, you can see them in books, and you can even see them behind glass. And I mean, that's, from an academic point of view, that is really useful. But actually what you get from seeing things this close up is the whole authenticity. I think what Walter Benjamin described in Reproduction in the Mechanical Age. He talked of the aura of an object, and that really is something that being this close to it, I mean, this belonged to one of the first kings of Egypt. This is 5,000 years old. This has hieroglyphs on it. The hieroglyphs before hieroglyphs were real hieroglyphs. I mean, this is when symbols were becoming language. Symbols weren't just a picture of a thing. Symbols had a phonetic value, and this embodies all of that. And being this close, being touchably close to it, is, I mean, it's an experience that you know, it lives with you throughout your career, and it makes you who you are.
Okay, thanks Michelle. So join us next time for another Object of the Month.